You know, with chaos in the marketplace and the US Iranian war continuing on with no solution in hand, as a consumer, I might be asking questions that I really don't even know what the possible answer could be. What's the question? Could oil actually get to $100 a barrel and stay there? Could we be facing a fundamental shift in the cost of energy across the board? And the answer is absolutely. Absolutely, we could see the cost of a barrel of crude oil going forward be in excess of $100 a barrel. That in turn puts gasoline at the pump between 450 and 550 per gallon. It raises utility costs by 40 to 60%. It destroys the economics of many companies who will use that energy price increase as a way to almost diminish or erode their complete profit margins. What it will do is it will provide an emphasis on the necessity and the importance of having replaceable, replenishable, and fundamentally accessible low-cost energy. Now, everybody's going to say, well, then why don't we have more windmills and solar panels and hydrogen and nuclear? Because in order for those alternative energies to work in any kind of mass volume, you need a lot of wind, a lot of sun, less hail damage. We got to have closer proximity from those sources. We got to learn how to store that energy. And quite frankly, the fundamental price, in my view, is you need $125 to $150 per barrel oil for any of those sources to be economically viable on any kind of broad spectrum. So could it really last and stay at $100 a barrel? Not today. Could it last and be that way in 5 years from now, 10 years from now? Oh, absolutely. See, I've been in this industry, oil and gas, in the United States since 1985. And I used to hear these comments back in like 1991. Could oil really go from $17 a barrel to $25 a barrel? And it did. No one complained. Back in the 1980s and 1990s, we were talking about 55 miles per hour on the highway. They didn't want you to drive fast. They claimed you burned too much fuel. Then they claimed that you had to have a car that had to have an excess of 35 miles per gallon. You had all these cars rated by how far they could go in a gallon of gas. By weight, they didn't want you to buy big vehicles. And then over time, through technology, we discovered more and more ways to produce more oil. So we became the #1 oil producer in the world here in the United States. We make almost 14 million barrels a day. We said, wait a minute. We don't have to conserve. We don't need small cars. We don't need miles per gallon. We don't need 55 miles per hour. What we need is 75, 80 miles per hour so we can get there faster. We'll burn less fuel. We need bigger homes, higher ceilings. We're not worried about saving. We have abundance of it. We have so much abundance. If you look at the highway outside my building right here, probably every car out there is either an SUV, a hybrid, or a full-size diesel truck that weighs 3,000 pounds, driving 75 to 100 miles an hour with the right foot pressed all the way to the pedal. We don't worry about conserving anymore because it's been so cheap relative to everything else. When I look at buying a bucket of chicken for $90 these days, buying a gallon of gas for $4.50 seems pretty cheap. It's all relative. So could oil prices sustainably get to $100 or more? The answer is 100% yes. The answer is when? When will it get to $100 a barrel? When will $100 a barrel be considered normal and acceptable? And is that a reality in the next 5, 10, 20 years, which goes back to when? So I don't have the when. If I had the when, I'd take out options and I'd be the richest guy on the planet. If I had when, I would make all my investments based on that known when factor, when it's going to happen. But today, I think any of us as consumers need to understand that the entire planet has decided that oil and gas is the fundamental, most base, simplest, easy, most accessible source of energy around the globe. And no matter what anyone else wants to claim, it will never change in my lifetime or yours. If that's true, and I know there's going to be higher demand, less supply, new supply is going to cost a lot more, I'm in a escalation of price of a unit of energy derived from oil and gas over the next 5, 10, 20, 30 years, then I might want to start taking some considerations in the way I run my life, the way I run my portfolio, the way I think about the investments I own, and how they will be affected based on rising energy costs. Now, look, life is not like a straight line up or down. It's more like a heart monitor. It's up, it's down, it's up, it's down, based on geopolitical risk, based on supply, demand, cost of capital, inflation, recession, stagflation, different economic scenarios. And so the question is, do I try to figure out the ups and downs, or do I look at the trajectory? I've only been doing this 41 years. 41 years, same business. And I can tell you, when I look over the 41 years I started in oil and gas in 1985, this thing looks like a heart attack. It looks like a heart monitor with somebody on steroids or fentanyl because it's all over the board. Gulf War, 9/11, inflation, recession, depression, you name it, all over the board. As low as $11 a barrel up to $145 a barrel at any given point in time, and back and forth all over. So today, you watching this might ask yourself how the Iranian war has created something that was never really known before, not in its truest content. Even I don't believe the President of the United States understood quite dynamically what would happen by a simple strait of water called the Strait of Hormuz and what that does to the entire global perception of future energy, aggregation, sourcing, logistics, and control. So for me, when I think about could the price of oil be over $100 a barrel? Absolutely. Do I think it's here today? Probably. Will it drop back? Let's say there is a resolution to the Iranian war sometime in the next 6 months, year, 18 months. And what does that look like in terms of the resolution and solution? Where does that leave crude oil? Does it leave us at back to $75 or $65 a barrel? Or does it leave us more like $75 to $100 a barrel as the new hard floor? In my opinion, I think traders will trade it more collectively to the downside because they believe now they can buy oil cheaper, make a better spread to get to their end customers. It won't last. It's like pulling a rubber band way too hard and snapping it. If it goes too high too fast, it snaps back. If it goes low too fast, it snaps back. So what is the distance on that stretch of that economic rubber band involving energy? To me, I look at $100 a barrel as being a little bit high for today, but I do believe over the next 5 or 10 years, you could see the base price for crude oil move from a $65 break even and an acceptable range of profitable exploration between $75 and $85. I could see that easily moving $10 to $20 higher. Now we are talking about $90 to $110 a barrel in that upper range, and we are talking about sustainable break even at $75 to $85 a barrel. And now we're talking about is new fundamental economics from AI data centers, technology, transportation, manufacturing, just air conditioning this office. Do I want a bigger office? Do I want a smaller office? Because my electrical bill is maybe twice what my rent is. These are all things we're going to have to consider. And today, President Trump has got a hornet's nest. And that hornet's nest is a bunch of salty, proven terrorists who have lived for hundreds of years with the same ideology, and they have no intention on acquiescing. What $100 a barrel has shown us is that they understand economics as well. And they have one of the cheapest costs per barrel of recovery of any country in the world when it comes to producing oil. They sit on an ocean of oil. So if I have the cheapest way to get it, and I benefit from the highest price, which is $100 a barrel today and higher, then I have the greatest profit margin, which means I have the most discretionary money to buy more weapons and those types of products that cause chaos around the world, both militarily and globally, in terms of social benefits and cultures and economics. I know that this will never change, and thus $100 a barrel is not only practical, it's reasonable, but in my view, it's expected in the next 10 to 20 years, we rise another $10, $20, $30 a barrel to $100 a barrel becomes a good deal in 2045. A good deal at $100 a barrel.